Welcome everybody to week 13, day 2/day 1, because day 1 was on a cell phone connection and the recording turned out really horribly, so we will just kind of pretend that didn't exist. For those of you that don't know, my internet was severed by people fixing on a water leak. Trees took out a pipe, came in to dig up the pipe, severed the internet connection, so on Tuesday I was broadcasting over a cell phone connection. And it didn't go well. So we're just going to take it from the top. So all of your proposals are due like now. You didn't do it, or if I asked you to redo it and you didn't redo it, you get a 0 until you redo it, I guess. So probably want to do that as soon as possible. Otherwise, the 0 will turn into a permanent 0. So you guys are going to have 2 weeks to do your Unreal Engine project. So 2 Tuesdays from now, technically, it'll be due. And in the meantime, we're going to be learning the last major component of this class, which is learning about the idTech 1 engine, which is the basis of quite a few video games over the years. The Unreal Engine, obviously, nowadays is much more common, especially since it got bought out by Bethesda, which got out by ZeniMax, which got bought out by Microsoft, and they're not allowing id to release their engine to other people anymore, even though that used to be their primary source of income. They're making it a proprietary engine, like how EA has the Frostbite engine, which is the source of EA sucking. By the way, if you wonder why Mass Effect Andromeda was so bad, it's because of the insistence of the president of EA that all EA companies use the Frostbite engine. And the Frostbite engine was written for, was it Call of Duty, I think? One of those first-person shooters, and Mass Effect Andromeda is a big open-world space exploration game. The engine was not very good at it. It's not an especially well-done engine to begin with, and it is specialized at doing first-person shooters, not RPGs. And so there are very few people in EA that are actually mavens, that are experts at Frostbite. And so what happened was their big, was it FIFA, was having trouble because they moved the soccer game to a first-person shooter engine. And they had trouble getting it to work because the engine sucks. And so they stole people off of the Mass Effect Andromeda team to make FIFA work. And so Mass Effect Andromeda languished because they didn't have a working engine. And so they stole people off the Anthem team to work on Mass Effect Andromeda. And then Anthem potatoed Mass Effect Andromeda, was a complete and utter failure. Anthem was one of the lowest rated games of all time. Metacritic, worst games of 2020. Let's see, how is Cyberpunk doing? Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. Yeah, there's bugs. There's bugs in it. Let's see how Anthem stacks up. To Anthem stacks up to Cyberpunk. Can I not search? There we go. 54. Look at you, 54. And one of my friends, worked on Anthem, and when I posted about how horrible Anthem was, he's like, bro, he works for BioWare. He came and spoke over the summer. I think the lecture is up. I have my old lectures up on Canvas in the module section. There's a summer lectures section. You can see his interview. He's a real cool dude. Manji is a real awesome dude. He does QA and works on things like Star Wars, The Old Republic, MMO, and things like that. And he's got some really good insights on game development. Last semester, I brought in another friend of mine, Nick Davidson, who has done games such as Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. His idea was for Magic the Gathering, the new one. There used to be an online thing called Magic the Gathering Online, and he kept pitching to the Wizards of the Coast people who he was working for. 75 seems fair. Came out in 2002. I was a beta tester for it, by the way, and I found bugs. And so he proposed this one, and I know there's an older one. Yeah, that was a terrible game too. Faithful Translations of Classic Creatures. That's such a bad game. But he proposed this, and his elevator pitch. His elevator pitch was Magic the Gathering Online for humans. That was his pitch, and they turned him down. So he just kept pitching it over and over again. And 3.2. Let's hide that one. But it's a pretty smooth, easy to play version of Magic the Gathering. So you play Magic online. So one of the reasons, in my opinion, why Crytek, Anthem 54, man, Anthem for a BioWare game, man, that is so disappointing, you know. Andromeda, see how Andromeda did. It's got to be better than Anthem, right? 71, yeah, terrible. Yeah. So the reason why they keep failing in all of these games, and these are from respected companies and respected franchises, is, in my opinion, the engine. Anthem had huge amounts of problems getting the engine to work, because Anthem, if you guys don't know, if you haven't played it, you're not missing a whole lot, but you're in a flying robot suit. So you get to fly around this beautiful, and the environment's beautiful. But they had a really hard time getting the engine to work, and so, in my opinion, you know, one of the hugest benefits of learning Unreal Engine and doing development in Unreal Engine is because it's open source. You can have students learn it, and students take a game development class and learn Unreal Engine. And so if you're a game company and you're using Unreal Engine, then you can hire people that have done it for a year or two. You know, with the Frostbite engine, they don't share it with anyone. I talked to one of the recruiters. I'm like, hey, is there a way that my students can learn Frostbite now so that you can hire experienced Frostbite developers? Because that would benefit you as a company to have people who know the engine coming into the company, rather than having to be taught by the very few people that actually know the engine well enough to teach it, who have better things to be doing anyway, like making soccer games work. So the answer was no. The answer was no. Sorry, we don't share it with anyone. It's proprietary. 1.2, look at this. Look at this. 1.2. It's fantastic. Good job, EA. Good job. Yeah, and so one thing you guys might not know is that Metacritic is oftentimes used to give bonuses to a team. So they had a deal with like Fallout New Vegas. They would get millions of dollars of bonuses if they hit, I think it was like an 80 on the Metacritic. New Vegas. Yeah. Or something like that. Maybe it was an 85. And they missed it by 1 point. They missed it by 1 point. And so the Obsidian guys were like, oh. Yeah, and it literally hurt the studio, right? Like, badly. I mean, Fallout New Vegas, in my opinion, is the best Fallout game ever made. Acquaintance of mine, Tess Treadwell, now renamed. She just got married again. Tespin, I think. I flew her out on my own money. I paid for her airfare. She flew out from the Bay Area, and she gave a great talk to you guys, not you, but the class. And she talked about game development, and I think maybe scared some of the people by talking about the drinking culture and things like that in the games industry. So so Obsidian's had hard times. You know, they had to let people go. You know, and it's 1 point on Metacritic, and it's the best Fallout in my opinion. I'm not just saying that because I know her, and she was married to a good friend of mine. Nope, it's just a really good game. So, yeah, if you're a game development company, don't make a hard cutoff out of it. I'd do a linear interpolation, right? Like between 80 and 90, you get like an extra $100,000 for each point on Metacritic or something like that. You know, do a lerp it. Yeah, 8.8. Yeah, that's a lot better than FIFA. So, I tried playing Fallout New Vegas again the other day, about a month ago, because I was actually thinking about having you guys mod it. But the game crashed so many times. It was just like, forget about it. Like, I modded it and, like, downloaded the 64-bit thing, and it just... I finally got it working, and then 15 minutes in it crashed and I lost all my progress, and I was just like, yeah, forget about it. I don't want to put you guys through it. Fantastic game though. I really wish they would do a 64-bit re-release of it, so that it doesn't suck as bad as it is. Like make mods from scratch for the game. Well, so the way that modding works, and that's a good segue. Thank you, Lave. By the way, Lave, meditation this Sunday at 10. And I've invited some of the alumni to come too, so we might have a big group on Sunday. So the way that modding works is you start with an existing game. You start with an existing game and you mod it, right? And so modding from scratch, like, what does that mean? Like, you're not starting from scratch, right? You're starting from an existing game. And so there is the GEC editor. It's a Garden of Eden creation kit. And they allow you to make mods for Fallout New Vegas. So what you do is you don't start from scratch. You start with an existing, fully functional game. And then basically you can edit things in the world. You can place a new building in, place new monsters in, things like that. And the way that it saves it is it saves it as a difference. So it'll say at this cell, X10, Y50, there's now a gas station. That's all the mod is. For the normal mods. They have some mods that are total conversions that work a little differently. But the basic way that it works is you make changes in the GEC editor, and whatever differences you have from the original game get saved into a differences file, and then you typically will have something like Vortex or something like that to manage your mods for you, because managing mods in Obsidian, this is an Obsidian game, but Bethesda games in general is pretty much garbage. Like, if you don't have a mod manager, you have to copy files into directories, and then they conflict because they'll overwrite each other, and then they crash, and then you can't undo it because they've overridden each other. And so having mod managers is a really nice way of doing that. But even then, you'll have conflicts. So it's like, let's say that you try putting a gas station at this place, and somebody else tries putting an airport there. Well, which one is it? And so the game engine, or the mod manager really, will detect this cell, this spot has been modified in two different ways. So you need to tell me which one should actually be real. And the trouble is, like, if you say, okay, the gas station's real, but then the airport was needed in a quest for this other thing, then it breaks. And, or it crashes. Because that thing tries accessing the NPC over the airport, they don't exist. Seg fault. Boom. And Bethesda games, which I love for how moddable they are, I hate for how badly they did it. It is just not the whole point of Skyrim and all these games is the wonderful mods for it, And they've tried cashing in on the popularity with the creation kit kind of thing. What is it? The Bethesda Creators Club, Bethesda Creators Club, and you can sell your mods on online. Horse armor, my goodness. And so they're trying to monetize it, because of course they are, but really that's the selling point. And the trouble is that they just didn't do a very good job architecting the whole thing. It shouldn't crash. If you do one thing wrong, it shouldn't just die. No error message, dead. It's just shoddy coding in my opinion. You gotta love it for what it is. And the fact that a lot of games these days don't allow modding. Like, my daughter had an idea for an Animal Crossing mod, and I'm like, sorry girl, you can't mod it. She's like, what? Why not? Because I'm like, they don't want you to. Well, why not? Why don't they want me to mod it? It's Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't believe in allowing anyone control except them, right? And so the PC, especially, because Skyrim, you can't mod it. You can buy the Professional Creation Club mods, but only the PC has that culture of modability, and a lot of that comes from Quake. Doom to a certain extent, but Quake really was the game that demonstrated the power of modding, because they wrote their own programming language for Quake. And so rather than just editing textures or editing a weapon model or something like that, you could literally make a brand new game inside of Quake without having to touch the engine. You could just touch the game code. right? When you do a game, there's a few different parts, right? Like there's the and Dolan, I don't know if you heard, but we're doing meditation on Sunday at 10 o'clock, if you're interested. So I think a lot of the alumni should be there. So it'll be fun. All right, so there are kind of three big things that people work on. There's the client, there's the server, and then there's what's called the game code. And all of these, this is the client, the server, this is the game code. And so the game code is kind of like part of the server. It's like this chunk of it here. And so the client is going to connect to the server over the interwebs, and the server will talk to the client over the interwebs. But the server has the official state of who's alive, who's dead, what's the score. You don't want to trust clients to do that. You can. There is a model where you have clients talking to each other, and that model is called a listen client. Sometimes there's different names for it. Peer-to-peer sometimes. Listen client. Peer-to-peer networking. Peer-to-peer networking. I just call it garbage. Yep. Garbage networking. The cheating, hacking, desyncs, it's just not a good way of doing it. So if you have 8 people, all 8 people have to talk to all 8 other people, that's 64 connections. Whereas with a server, there's 8 connections, right? Server to each of the 8 clients. And so the bandwidth is also a lot better. So get your second vaccine on the 10th. Nice. Your Nintendo modding discords. Nice. Yeah, I know they've modded like Smash Brothers. That's the most famous one, but it is done over the objections of Nintendo. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Stafford, or Span. Sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Nintendo is not on the modding wagon. So, and so you've got your server, and what happens is that this was actually kept private. This is actually money. So if you wanted to modify the client, if you wanted to modify the server, you had to fork up $100K to idTech to get the idTech license. Something like that. I don't remember the exact price. But they released this for free. The Quake C source code was released for free. And so what happened was you couldn't do everything, right? Because this protocol here, you couldn't touch, kind of. You kind of could. The game code could actually send network packets out and stuff like that. But there was some stuff you couldn't do. But by and large, like with just this scripting engine, you could change something. You'd be like, all right, rocket. If the rocket launcher does 100 damage right now, I'm just going to change one number. I'm going to change it to 1,000, and then compile it, and that creates something called a progs file, a program file, basically. And then when you run the server loads the progs file, and the progs file controls how the game runs. And the damage on a rocket launcher is 1,000 now. Okay. And then you could send these progs files to anybody. They were not executable, so they were safe. This is something that Quake 2 did badly. Quake 2 switched it to using DLLs. And if you have a DLL, that's an executable program. So you're trusting a program from somebody else over the internet to run on your computer. Dangerous. It also won't run on Linux. Whereas this is just a certain file format that the server understands, and it can run on Linux or on Mac or on PC or whatever. Fine. Now there were limitations to it. There was a length limit, which I don't remember the exact length, but it was something like 300,000 lines of code. That it would just stop working. It would run, but it just wouldn't work right. And so I spent a long time cutting lines of code out of my mod. I spent as much time cutting code out and simplifying code than I did writing code to keep under this limit. Because they're like, who on earth would write a mod that's 300,000 lines? Nintendo is very Sue happy. They stalk certain modders physically. Yeah. Source Engine has had weirdness with server security before. Sprays are limited 5. Yeah. So all this modding culture really started with Quake, because what people found was that you actually had pretty good control over the game. and you could release completely different. Games. And so, for example, Quake, you think of as a first-person shooter. Nope, not anymore. Now it's Mario Kart. And so, sorry, Quake Kart. And so there was a Quake Kart mod, and you're a car, and you're driving around a racetrack, and you're like, what? Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. There was a superhero mod where you would gain different superhero powers like flight and lightning and regeneration and stuff like that. So you're doing deathmatch and gaining new superhero powers, and it was a very different game. Team Fortress, of course, being the most classic thing to come out of it. A lot of games have actually been mods originally. Dota, right? Dota was a Warcraft 3 mod. And the Warcraft people liked Team Fortress. The Blizzard people at Blizzard, they liked Team Fortress. If you played StarCraft has a Team Fortress homage in it. You can actually play a Team Fortress mode with the Pyro, who's a flamer unit, and things like that. And so Blizzard added modding to their games. And Overwatch, though, no. Team Fortress 2, no. So it's almost from like a relic of a bygone era. But Bethesda at least still allows modding. So, in their kind of clunky, broken, crashy way. Hopefully the next Elder Scrolls game will have better modding support. I don't know. Source engine mods are possible, yeah. But they have to, like, Team Fortress 2 isn't moddable, as far as I know. I think there's, like, maybe DLL hacks or something like that. TF2 mods exist. Okay. Yeah. All right, I'll have to check that out then. Okay. All right. So, let's... TF2 Classic. What's the difference between that and the modern TF2? Like, the new one isn't moddable, but the old one is? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll have to check that out. Maybe I'll redo custom TF in Team Fortress 2. That could be fun. 4 teams. Yeah. Yeah, original Team Fortress 1 had 4 teams. Right? They stripped out so much in Team Fortress 2. It drives me crazy. Okay. So do you guys understand this architecture? So the client is what draws things on the screen. So the client is going to have a frame buffer, and it's going to be drawing a picture of you in the game and going pew pew and shooting at people. The server just has track of where everything is, and it will transmit updates to the client. The client says, hey, I clicked the mouse button. It sends that over to the server. The server says, okay, you have the rocket launcher equipped right now. You've got ammo. All right, create a rocket, and it sends a packet back saying spawn a projectile at this location with this model traveling in this direction. Position, rotation, scale, bounding box, model, all these things we've talked about in Unreal Engine exist in Quake, except they don't have skeletal meshes. So they just have static meshes. They have a bunch of different static meshes. So one of the player like this, one like this, one like this, and when you do a jump, it just switches out the meshes. So there's no skeletal mesh system in the basic Quake engine. I believe the FTE engine does have skeletal mesh support, but I'd have to check on that. So modding is only possible if you play online. No, hell no. You can run the server on your local machine. And by the way, the server is now open source, so you don't have to pay money for it anymore. Do whatever you want with it. So you can modify the server, you can modify the client, make your own game. Okay, and that's why we're going through this process. Is you're going to learn the idTech 1 engine, and you're going to start with a working game, and you're going to modify it. And that's one of the best ways of learning how games actually work. Is you start work on a project that already exists. It's really hard, especially for people that have limited coding skills, to just like start with a blank file in Notepad and like code up a game. You can, and if you look at, there's various YouTube series where they start with just hello world and they make a ray tracing engine over a weekend, and you can do that. But if you're not at a high level of, probably I'd say at maybe the junior level, senior level, maybe you could probably start doing something like that, but it's not going to be as good. And you're wasting all your time coding stuff that exists already. You'd have to figure out, how do I do networking? How do I do a trace line? How do I make a bullet tell me what it hits? All these things have been done. Right? And you can learn how they work by modifying them and using them. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to have great coding skills. So, did everybody download the thing like I asked them on Tuesday? I believe it's still pinned on Discord. Yes, Quake release is on Discord. Um, and let's see, make a note on that. Okay. Download the Quake code and the VS Code stuff. Cool. All right. Yeah. So you also need to get VS Code. You don't have to. I coded in not Notepad. I coded in WordPad because Notepad doesn't work well with Unix. Or at least it didn't back in the day. It didn't work well with Unix text files, and when you hit save, it would jump on the screen. It was really annoying. So I actually used WordPad to code 300,000 lines of code. It's doable. It's not probably optimal. I prefer using VS Code these days, but yeah, it's doable. All right, so let's take a look. Yeah, not actual Visual Studio, just VS Code. That's all you do. All right, so when you unzip it, you're going to see something like this. So let me just first of all show you how to run the thing. Okay, so launch server. So I've got some batch files here. Batch files are like the low IQ version of Unix shell scripting. They're a holdover from the Microsoft DOS days, and it's really kind of a garbage thing, but it works. So just double click on launch server, and that will launch the server with the appropriate parameters all set. If it crashes, it'll relaunch it. Yeah, it'll set it to be using Team Fortress, using a whopping 32 megabytes of RAM. 32 megabytes of RAM. And then it sets some ping servers so that people can find it. Yeah, so if you don't have 32 megs of RAM, man, this thing won't run very well. You gotta have 32 megs. All right. Yeah, so that's all you have to do. Just double click on launch server and then minimize it. From the console here, you can do things like say hi, talk to people. You can get who's connected right now, change the map to Fort 5R, So there's a few commands like that. Map, status, say, kick, if you want to kick somebody off. That's about it. That's all you need to know. But just minimize it. And where'd I go? There we go. All right. And then, so once you launch the server, then you can launch the client. So just double click on that. I have a shortcut set up called Launch Client. And I'm going to have to move it over to the screen. Give me 1 second. Where are you? Video options. Windowed. Borderless windowed. Windowed. Shrink the size down. Move it across. Put it back up on 4K. HDR lighting, desync, strict 98 frames a second. Sure, why not? Okay. No, it's switched. There we go. Okay. That'll work, I guess. All right, so this is like the original classic. Wait. Okay. This is the original classic map. This map I played in 1996 or 7, and with very small changes, it's still a Team Fortress 2 map today. This was made by just like some guy in Australia, I think, or the team was based out of Australia. So you can sit there and you can count the triangles, right? This is not a pretty map, but this map it's got transparent water now. That's new since the 90s. But this map will teach you about the principles of map design. So you'll start in a spawn room like this. The spawn room is protected by doors, 2 sets of doors actually. So if somebody on the enemy team comes into here, they still can't get through to here if they're going to try and spawn camp you. And then you walk out from there, you walk out onto the sniper balcony here. And snipers typically hang out here and shoot people as they try crossing the bridge. But let's say you're trying to capture the enemy flag. You run down here and you go through this bridge. This bridge is a giant choke point. It's right in the midpoint between the 2 opposing factions. And so what happens is this midpoint here is typically covered in blood. You know, there's everyone's respawning and they're fighting, and this is the natural point where people fight. But let's say you make it across, or if you don't make it across, you can always jump in here and swim underneath the bridge down there. You run in through one of the 2 doorways. There's a choke point right here. There's one way of coming up this way if you know how to rocket jump. Otherwise, there are 2 paths, one here, one here. So this is a great place to do defense. My boy Preacher Man, who came and spoke to you guys earlier in the semester, he and I would play defense together, and so this is a great place to defend, because the only other way that bad guys can get in is by rocket jumping up to here. And so we would typically hold this area here, and then you'd walk into here. That area there connects to here. This is the ramp room. There's 2 ramps that come up. One that goes that way, the long way. One that goes the short way, but it ends you up right next to their spawn point. So there's typically a lot of bad guys here. From the ramp room, there's 2 ways. You can either drop down the elevator, or you can go down the spiral ramps over here. And so what you'll notice is that over and over again, you'll see that there is a long choke point, followed by a fork left and right, and the elevator is here. So if you could jump down this way, come in here, and then you come to the final fork in the road, left or right, doesn't matter. They both end up in the flag room. You grab the flag, and then you have to bring it back to your base. And so one of the big original mods for Quake was Capture the Flag. And so Team Fortress was, it actually supported Capture the Flag maps. It actually has code in there to understand the maps made for Capture the Flag. And the first maps made for Team Fortress were Capture the Flag maps. Not all of them are. You touch this, you score 10 points. Okay, first team to 100 wins is the basic rules. Okay, and so the most basic Team Fortress maps are Capture the Flag maps, but they did something really clever. They made a whole map engine kind of thing that could really do a lot of different stuff. And so some Team Fortress maps are like Hunted, where one person is the president. Some people are the bodyguards of the president. Some people are the assassins, and the president has to get through the gauntlet of the assassins to get to the end and score. And so there's a lot of very interesting stuff done in the Team Fortress map engine. So let me show you another map. Map 6. And so let's see here. I'll play a soldier, I guess. Okay. Ooh, look at that full screen flash blend. Okay. How's my ping? 16 milliseconds. Pretty good. All right. So here's what the game looks like. You can see it doesn't look too terrible. See the lighting on the walls? I don't have all the graphics set up right now, but it looks decent. It looks decent enough. You see there's a vertex shader, pixel shader, fragment shader, whatever you want to call it, for the water. And so if you want to rocket jump, you do that. And Well 6 is one of the best designed. This is also remade in Team Fortress 2. You can see the original architecture is a lot of like count the polygon type stuff. Look, that's a thing, you know. You can count it, but you know, if you play Risk of Rain, probably the aesthetic appeals to you. There's an elevator that goes up. Grenade. Nail grenade. The nail grenade spits bullets in a circle. and then you run the flag back to your base. The defense will typically set up in the choke points. The offense will try to bypass the choke points as much as possible. What's up, girl? Do you recognize this? Yeah. Yeah? No. No. Lecturing, girl. Alright, go capture the flag. Take my keyboard and mouse away.
I go this way, right? Am I going the right way?
You could go that way. They haven't seen that before.
Where do I go?
Yeah. Turn around. We can summon a soldier. Hang on. Yeah. So we can summon a soldier. There we go.
Does that guy fight alongside you?
He fights alongside of you. So the soldier in custom TF has the ability to summon other soldiers. And you can, again, count the polygons on the face. Right. Okay, so go up the elevator over there. Go up the elevator. Graphics are not bad, actually. And then walk around. And get some resupplies there. Go to the left. Go up. Turn around. Okay, and so the cap point is actually the bottom of the well. You didn't need to go up here. It's not there. That's our flag. Drop down. Jump down. Okay. The water is not turned on, bro. And then come over here. Go through the teleporter. Okay. And that is well 6. Okay. So the game is a first-person shooter. When you click, it attacks with whatever weapon you have. You can have different weapons: single-barreled shotgun, double-barreled shotgun, rocket launcher, and change class. And then you can change your classes whenever you die.
Ooh, I want to try that.
Okay, go for it. Shoot yourself in the foot. Yeah, the graphics aren't bad, right? Like it's a lot of it is just the map and you zoomed in. Yeah. So.
Why did you kill yourself?
Yeah, the graphics aren't bad.
Why did you kill yourself?
How do you not zoom? I have E set to zoom and Q set to zoom out. So E zooms in, Q zooms out. I don't know. And then this is custom TF. So this is what I did. What you were seeing before, with the exception of the soldier teleporting, is all stuff other people did. I didn't make the map. I didn't make the texture. People have reskinned the textures. You might notice the textures kind of look nice. You're limited to the geometry in the world, but it's not terrible. It's doable. Does it have background music and sound effects? Yes. The background music is made by a guy named Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and they actually pressed a Quake vinyl that has the soundtrack on it, and it's pretty good. I always turn off music in my games though. So Dolio actually just got a copy of the Quake 1 vinyl. It's pretty cool. So he posted that on Discord somewhere. Okay, so this is what I did. Okay, so what I did was I took all the classes of Team Fortress and I sat down with like an Excel spreadsheet and I tried figuring out if we assume they're all balanced, and if we assume we're going to have a budget of $10,000, you can see right there in the middle of the screen where it says $10,000 left.
Or $1 million.
$10,000. How much is each option worth? Right? How much should the sniper rifle be worth? How much should the rocket launcher be worth? How much should, these different things be worth? The ass cannon, the assault cannon, sorry, Ada. The grenade set, the nail gun. And I based it basically on the relative power of the options, And you can see I don't like the nail gun very much. The nail gun's worth $200. But the nice thing is, like, if you've got $200 left over, buy the nail gun, It's something. It's better than having no weapons, And so at least you can throw some fire out there and make people, pay attention to you. So, how many different options are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 different pages of options. There are a lot of options. And originally it was a lot simpler than that, but basically the system I came up with was pretty modular. And so you just add a new menu of options. And like, for example, I came up with the ability to summon soldiers. Right there, number 1, summon soldiers. So by paying $12.50, you can summon a bot, and the bot can follow you around and fight with you, or you can tell the bot to defend the flag, that kind of stuff. Could you change the mod to change the prices? Sure. In fact, why don't we do that in just a second? So there are a lot of options here, and if you, I think there's a help system, yeah. So if you buy something, it will print up at the top of the screen. Did you see that? It prints at the top of the screen what the thing does, so that you can sit there and be like, what does a flare do? Okay. It lights up the area. Okay. So one thing I'm very proud of, the greatest moment in computer science, let's buy some health. Let's buy a lot of health. That might be too much health. High speed, sure. And a light assault. That leaves us enough money for some of that. Okay. So if you want to make a fast scout character, if you guys have ever played Call of Duty, do you guys know how slow Call of Duty is? It's slow. Look at how fast you run in a game from 1995. Right? This game runs fine on a 6K a second connection. 6K a second. You don't need high-speed internet.
Wait, did you get the rocket launcher?
No, I got the light assault.
Oh.
Oops, zoomed in. And so this game allows people to move much faster than in any modern game.
Which is also bad.
It's bad, like if they have bad oh, dang it.
See,
yeah.
This is what I mean that's bad.
Right, you can fall off, that's true.
Why are you wasting bullets?
There's nobody else in the game, bro, it doesn't matter.
How can you try to do someone else in the game?
I'm just showing them the game. And so, 6K a second, that's it. On a 6K connection, the thing runs fine. Supports 32 players. Supports 4K HDR graphics, bloom, vertex shaders. This is 4K resolution, HDR. Like, it looks reasonably good. The only thing that I would want probably to redo is just kind of, have a map maker kind of, spice it up a little bit, I guess. Look, it's an octagon, Other than that, like, it's a very performant client. There's some things you can't do in it, and so when you guys learn enough about it, you'll kind of have an idea of what you can mod and what you can't mod. But just ask me, because I know this engine very well, and there's a lot of actually modern first-person shooters still using heavily modified versions of the idTech 1 engine, because it's very well understood. It's a well-designed engine, and the network performance is just like really fantastic. Let me show you the high point of my computer science career. Rocket launcher, laser guided, cluster rockets.
Dad?
Yes, girl.
You know how you said that they can they'll put dialogue of what it is? Can you add in dialogue like the rocket launcher tip? If you shoot at the floor, you can launch yourself into the sky. Did you ever put that in?
Rocket jumping? I don't know.
Like you should really put that in.
So here's the normal rocket launcher. Now, watch this. If I hold it down, I bought laser guided rockets. I wrote this code.
Can I rocket launch into this?
Would a higher speed CPU cause the game to run faster? No. Because if you remember when we talked about the...
Wait, what's that side door?
That takes you up to the roof. Do you remember how we talked about delta seconds and things like that? So all the stuff we do is tied to how long it has been since the last frame, and so there's no problems with it running on a fast CPU. So now this may sound like bragging, but that code that I wrote there for the laser guided rockets, it was about 60 lines of code. I wrote it all, and it worked right the first time. And at that moment, I was just like,
yes.
I'm like, I've peaked. That is the
Dad?
That is the best I will ever do in computer science.
Wait. Can I
I'm just going to retire now, become a professor.
Can I try something? Can I try something?
One other thing, and I also added anime rockets.
What the heck? What is that?
So it's called the Macross Missile Massacre, where it fires a swarm of rockets. And so it fires a whole swarm of rockets, and they sort of randomly dance around the point that they're aiming at. Yep. So, yes, go ahead and take your thing. Any questions from the people in the crowd while my daughter is playing my game during lecture? You just rocket swarmed yourself, bro. Yeah, you can't. There's an invisible clipping.
I wanted to try.
There's a blocking play in there.
Cool.
Let's mod it. All right, very cool. All right, so quit on out, and let's take a look at the Fortress source code. Okay, so inside of source code, you can see here's all the .qc files. And so, what did you want to do? Mod the game to change the prices. What's the time to kill in this game? What do you mean by what's the time to kill? What's the time to kill? What are you doing? Girl. Changing the prices? Sure. Okay. So, if you have Quake...
How fast it takes to kill enemies?
On average. That's a great question. So, it's something that actually bugs me about a lot of games is how quickly you die also. You run really slowly, and then you die, and then you have to spend a long time running back someplace. Even in Overwatch, like, it's just like, blah, you just explode, even if you have a lot of health. So, in this game, there's a lot of variability. Do you want to invest the resources into not dying? I guess is the way of putting it. So you can invest 3/4 maybe of your money into not dying. And you're going to be pretty hard to kill. You're going to be moving slowly. So you're not going to be able to run the flag probably very well. And you're not going to have a lot of money for offense. But yeah, if you want, you can be a super tanky character. And you can also buy regeneration and armor regeneration. So if you survive a fight, you can go hide in a corner for 30 seconds and regenerate back up to full, if you want, if that's your cup of tea. But there's counters for everything. And so in this game, my philosophy for game design, especially when it comes to custom Team Fortress, is that every strategy has a counter. There's a counter for everything in the game. And so the way that, I don't want to say professional because people don't get paid for it, but the way that competitive custom Team Fortress is played is that it's 16 versus 16. One team is doing something and they're winning. The other team will look at what they're doing and they will recustomize themselves to counter it. And then the first team's like, oh, they're countering our thing. Then they recustomize and they recustomize. And there's this ever-evolving set of tactics. So you have to think on the fly. For you guys as newbies that don't know all the different options, like all that'll be just kind of, missed. That's more high-level play. But basically, it's really interesting to watch because people will sit there and respec to counter or to try new tactics and things like that. Oh, they haven't been guarding the balcony, so I'm gonna rocket jump, or I'll take the air fist and something like that, and air jump up. And then there's an option in the game where you can sell off your frags. Remember, 100 frags wins. 100 points wins. Every time you kill somebody, you get a point. Every time you capture the flag, the whole team gets 10 points. First team to get one person at 100 wins. But you can sell your frags. So you can sell frags up to 50 of them, which drops you far from winning. But you can sell them for more money. And then the next time you respec yourself, you're going to be way more powerful. And it's permanent until you respec again. If you respec again, that money's lost. And so what happens when people upgrade like that is that they're locked into that uber powerful build. They're powerful, but now their tactics are fixed because nobody wants to respec and lose all that extra money they have. And so one or two people will respec to be really powerful. The other team will figure it out and counter it. And then they're kind of like, it's kind of balanced. It's the way that it works out. So how long does it take to kill enemies on average? Snipers can oftentimes headshot, one-shot people in one shot. If you buy Kevlar, which is the anti-sniper counter armor, it's at least 2 shots usually to get 2 headshots to be killed. If you go really heavy on armor, maybe 3, 4. I don't know. It depends. Scouts can be killed really quickly. But a lot of people play the game with speed as their defense. So a lot of people try and go as max speed as possible. And they bunny jump and they concussion grenade themselves and they're flying over the world as quickly as possible so they just can't get shot. That's a valid tactic also. Okay, so how do we mod the game? Check it out. So I've got Visual Studio Code, not Visual Studio, VS Code installed, and I've got the Quake C plugin installed. So what I can do is I can right-click on this folder here. I'm just going to right-click on the source code folder, and I'm going to choose Open with Code, like that. And then this will launch the thing that we're going to be doing. Okay. So this has all of the files over here on the left-hand side. You can see all the different files. Who are you? Source control, one pending change. Def.qc. Committed to stage changes. Commit. And so this is going to push it out to the GitHub that I have that has all the source code on it. All right, so coming back, where were we? All right, so here's all the different files that you can edit. So you were saying, okay, I want to change the price of something. So what would you like to change the price of? Make a copy of the folder so you can keep the original, make it the copy mod folder. You can do that, or you can do what I did, which is you can set up source control. And if you set up source control, then every time you make a change, the original is still there. And so it keeps track of all the different changes you made, which is nice. But yeah, if you want, just copy the whole folder. That works too. Then if you break anything, it's fine. Okay, so extensions. So over here under extensions, you're going to want to install the Quake C extension. That's the main one. I've got Vim mode installed for VS Code, so I can use my Vim shortcuts. Vim is, for those of you that don't know Vim, don't install Vim mode. You will be confused. But for those of you that know and love Vim, you should probably install that one. 2.4 million downloads. If you want to collaborate with your partners, there's live share and reload required. Okay, sure, why not? And so you can start a live share session somewhere in here, and you can actually have people collaborating on the code at the same time. It's pretty cool. Yeah, the main thing though is Git history is nice. You can see your changes, but the main thing is Quake C. Just that's the only thing you need to have installed. So click on extensions and then search for Quake C and install it, and there you go. All right, so here on the top left, that shows you all the files. But so Span said, let's mod it. Let's change the price. Span, what do you want to change the price of? What option in the game? The rocket launcher, the cluster rockets to do the Macross missile massacre, laser guided rockets, the ass cannon, nail gun. What do you want to change the price of? Set cluster rockets to $5. Okay. So where is the price of a cluster rocket? I'm you guys now. There's a lot of files here. I don't really know. You know, there's a lot of source code. Cool. This is the skill I'm trying to teach you guys, by the way. So some of you guys are computer science majors. This is a essential skill for computer science majors. If you're not a computer science major, this is what it's going to be like when you go to work for a company and you don't know how things work. You have to learn how to get yourself situated. You have to learn how to quickly find where stuff is. Okay? So one of the reasons why I played the game for you is so you know the names of stuff, right? So you know that it's called cluster rockets and not like anime rockets or something like that. So it's actually important to, like, you know, use whatever product your company is using, so you're familiar with it, you're familiar with how it works and stuff like that. And then you can use searching tools to find where in the code base that thing is done. So we know that it's called cluster rockets, right? So right here, under the second option down, Control-Shift-F is the shortcut for it. We just search for cluster. Okay, and this is every place in every file in this folder that the word cluster appears. Okay. Fortunately, I don't have cluster F appearing anywhere in here. That's good. It's a family class. So yeah, 2, 10, 14, 95 references here. Okay. So you probably, if in fact we just do this, we can actually probably just find the, oh, there it is right there. Yeah. But what I was going to say is you can search for cluster, and then, you know, you just try searching for cost, maybe, or something like that. It's actually right here, cost of clusters. And so if you click on that, and usually when you search for something, yeah, sure, 100 things, you know, it's a lot of lines of code to go through, but it's a lot easier than 300,000, right? And there's you know, when you get comfortable with this, you're going to learn tricks on how to very quickly home in on where something is. And so by clicking on this, we find it is in a file called Custom Team Fortress Menu. So the menus are the different options, the menus of things to buy. You can see that here we have Rocket Launchers option 1, Pyro Toys option 2, Cluster Shots right there. We can change the name of it if we want. We can change it to Anime Shots if we want. But we're not. We're just going to change the price of it to 5. Okay. So seems pretty straightforward to me. I always try to line up everything. Okay, so yeah, I hit save. So I changed the price here to 5. You can hit save or save all if multiple files are modified. And now what? Okay, so I think I might have run set up, run and debug. Is that set up? No, it's not set up right. Remote Explorer, extensions. I don't live share. So if I wanted, you guys can actually edit with me. I did this last semester, and I had 11 people all editing the file at the same time. It was kind of a mess. Yeah, you can basically just share. It's fine. Okay. I don't know if my firewall will allow it. Make read only, copy again. Start audio calls, and that's cool. That's neat. I don't need you though. Alright, copy to the clipboard. Yeah, so if I wanted, I could post that link into Discord, and you guys could all join in on editing me. You'd see different things appear, but we're not going to do that. So, okay. And then you can see here on my source control, it says you have made a change to custom TF menu. And so I can revert it. Look, I can say discard. And do you want to discard changes? Sure. Look, do you see that? The price went back the way it was before. That's why source control is so very neat. Is because if you break something, because a lot of times you break something, you don't realize, like when I was trying to fix the formatting on long barrel here, I accidentally deleted the L, right? Right, instead of the, see? Right? And so if you use source control, you can always go back to previous versions and stuff like that. And you can look at your history using the Git history, things, stuff like that. Anyway, so let's put it back, file, save, and now I'm going to minimize VS Code, come back up into Quake release, and you guys see how there is a make command here. Don't worry about the FTE version. I was trying to get it to run on the FTE Quake World server, and I almost had it working. There's some differences in how our server handles strings from how the FTE Quake World server does. FTE is probably the best group of people right now working on the Quake client and server. So we are using not the FTE Quake World server. We're using the Clan Prozac Quake World server run by my buddy Often. He's a programmer in Barcelona, and he still is modifying it to this day. And so I should probably get the most recent version of from him, but whatever. So the point is, here's your workflow. Step one, find what you want to change. Step 2, change it. Step 3, save. Step 4, hit make for the CP version, Client Prozac version. Double click on that, and you will see everything went fine. And now, just restart the server. Restart, I think, works. Or you can change maps. Every time you change the maps, it reloads the. Every time you change the map, it reloads the progs. Okay. And so the workflow is pretty simple. Find the place you're going to change something, change it, save it, hit make, restart the server. And I'll put these into Discord so you have the step-by-step process. I didn't actually need to quit out of the client, but I did. So I've got to move it over to monitor 1 again. Why is there not just like an option for like pick the monitor to run on? Team 1, custom, and rocket launcher, and hey, look at that. Cluster shots, $5. Okay. So you can do, all these things are options, by the way. So you can have laser guided clusters, you can have heat seeking. I haven't shown you heat seeking. I guess I can't because there's nobody else on the server, but heat seeking rockets will automatically home in on a living body. So they're kind of cool. I wrote that code too. Faster rockets making travel quicker. So you can see there's a laser dot. Okay. And I can try cluster rockets. See, the reload's a lot more intense for the cluster rockets. It's a balancing thing. Okay. Make the rockets hit scan. Yeah. Okay, so I could quit or I could just minimize this. Somehow. So minimize. There we go. And so let's change the price again. So I come back into VS Code. And let's put the price up to 1,000. And you notice the alignment was kind of messed up. That's because each line has to have the same number of characters wide on it, or the formatting kind of gets screwed up. So I'll put it up at 1,000. Hit save. Rerun make. Make successfully made it. And then we'll just restart the server. Or I can type map ban 4. And then I didn't even quit out of the client. Look, I'm still in, and I'm in a new map now. Cool. So if I go into custom mode, impulse, you can see that the cluster shots are now 1,000. So that's how quickly you can iterate, right? So the impulse rifle is a armor destroying rifle. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's actually really good at stripping metal. So it destroys buildings really well. So it's an anti-building rocket. And it fires really slow. It's not very good against people. But if like they have a sentry gun up over there, then you just start cluster shot. And you can wreck enemy buildings. It also will hit through floors, and so if they have the sentry gun up on the second floor, you can shoot the floor like that and destroy a building through the floor. Oh, I'm out of rockets. Okay. So that's the modding process. Okay, I'll put it up on Discord right now. What font do you use? TrueType fonts? No, Quake has its own font set, and you can see that there's like weird aliasing issues on the fonts when like you see on the bottom right corner screen, because this thing was written like I don't know what it is. It's like an off by 1 error or something. Like when you use a resolution with a different aspect ratio, like you'll get like a row of pixels. Like you see that next to the ammo rather, that it doesn't round properly one way or the other, and it's just kind of an annoyance. I don't know, bitmap fonts, yeah, and there's a set of white letters, there's a set of yellow letters, and then there's a bunch of special characters. So you got the gold, you got the white. You can see it's you see the BAM, like those are like special. There's like a font set of like special characters. The dots, things like that. So when you see that in VS Code, it looks like this. You see that? There's like all these weird characters. These are like those extended Quake characters, and just leave them alone mostly. So, all right. Last time I rewrote this file was in 2007. So I was actively developing Custom Team Fortress from 1997 to about 2001. I was really actively developing it, and then I let other guys take over. Then I was actively developing it from about 2007 to 9, something like that. Again, yeah. So yeah, just leave those weird characters you see alone. There's a tool that will figure out the Quake character to the extended ASCII character in VS Code. Just don't touch him. Don't touch him. Okay. Right. So let's go back and revert you back to the original. What did you do differently? That looks like the same to me. Just ignore you. Huh. Right. Good ignore. I don't know. Should I have that ignored? If I add a new source code file, it's going to break everything. No, I'll just ignore you. Yeah, fine. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so the last official release I made was in 2009 for this. All right. I don't know what this does, but I deleted the whole engine crashes. The make scripts don't exist in the zip file? They don't? Really? Source code. So in the source code directory, you see make.bat. That's it. I just made a shortcut for it. So just double click that. So all I did was I just hit copy, copy, went up to the main folder, hit paste, shortcut. So you don't have to worry about the FTE version then. Yay. Okay. Yeah, so you already have the make file. So, all right. Well, what? I think next time we'll really get into the details. Is there any quick mod you guys would like to see me make? new sound, new model for a weapon, new Quake skins. Sound? Okay. So, Fortress, source code. Oh, I've already got VS Code open. Simple. All right, so there is, I don't know why, I kind of do want to add that to get ignore. I don't know. Man, I don't want this popping up every time I recompile because it's the same thing. It's not changed. Look at this. It's just the same thing every time. I don't know why it's tripping out over this. Alright, I'll just commit it and see if that... No changes commit. Well, fine. Okay, alright, so sound. So the way that sound works in Quake is you have to pre-cache a sound prior to being able to play it. And the reason for that is because you don't want it to be so that when you click a button and it's supposed to play a rocket launcher sound, that it has to load off disk and there's a delay. Right, so basically what you have to do is pre-cache the sound, which means when the client launches, it's given a list of sounds by the server. These are the sounds that are in this world that you're going to encounter in this level. And that might be from the mod, it might be from the map, might be from the game engine itself. Either way, you have to do a pre-cache first. And so where does that take place? Well, let's just search for pre-cache. And so you can see there's different places where it does the pre-caching. If you're making like a weapon sound, the Farah flying jetpack levitating mod. Seriously, Vacalar? Seriously? Overwatch copied my mod, and you want me to mod it? That's funny. For those of you that that don't know, I added hover boots, and I added cluster shots, and Farah from Overwatch is exactly my code, but redone by Blizzard, and redone in a more beautiful and polished fashion, but it's basically my code. Like the hover boots, which I stole from Zelda 64. They have a fuel meter on them, and as long as you hold down jump, you'll continue hovering in place, just like Farah, who copied me. You can tap it to get more, if you just do it occasionally, you can kind of squeeze more flight time out of it. And then Farah's ultimate is, of course, the Macross Missile Massacre. So, it's funny. Okay, so anyway. There is pre-cache sound, and so basically, let's see, let's go to weapons. That's where probably most of them are, right? Weapons, yeah. So here's a function called weapon pre-cache, and so this function just pre-caches all of the weapon sounds, and so. The way that you should mod things, like if you want to add a new weapon, start by being like, what is the weapon like? Is it a hit scan weapon? It is a projectile weapon? So that's kind of the only two kinds of weapons there are, Play the game, find something similar to what you did, and then look for every instance of that thing in the source code, right? And so like if you want to make a new flamethrower that, I don't know, is triple shot or something, or maybe you want to modify it to do the right click, the blast kind of thing, which was also taken from Custom Team Fortress. Kind of. I didn't invent it. It's called the Air Fist, but we brought it into Custom Team Fortress. So you're trying to take what I have rightfully stolen. Look, I'm completely not mad about it. If I sound I'm mad, I'm not. It's just the nature of computer science. You just like Air Fist. That's cool. We copied it into Team Fortress and Custom Team Fortress, and then Team Fortress 2 people copied it into the Pyro. I don't care. It's cool. It's a neat thing. So let's say you wanna make a new flamethrower or something like that. So you just find some existing line of code. Like we want to make a new sound. Okay. We need to get a new sound first. All right. So free sounds. Let's not do piracy. Free sounds. All right. What kind of sound do you want to add, Stafford? What kind of sound do you want to add? Splat. Okay. Which one of those do you like? Any of those come through? The wooden one. The wooden one. I don't know. That one? Splat 6. That one? Third or fourth? This one? Splat 6. Okay. Alright, so now that we have found our free, copyright-free sound, we click on that. And we log into download. And I've already got my account set up. Click on that. Okay. Hit download. Moshang Splat 6. Alright. And we will navigate to the folder, Fortress. Sound, it seems like a good place to put it. You can put directories to organize this stuff. I'm just going to call this Splat. Hopefully there's not a Splat already. There's not. Good. So there's now a Splat.wave in our directory. Let me just browse over here and make sure it is there. Fortress sound, sort by date modified, Splat, Splat.wave, run iTunes. Why is it? There we go. Okay. Everything came through all right. Okie dokie. So now let's come back into Quake C. And I'm just going to do what modders do, and I'm going to copy and paste. So I'm going to just copy and paste. That. And I'm just going to call it Splat.wave. Okay. Weapons. It's not in a folder, right? So inside of weapons, you can see all the different weapon sounds and there's different item sounds. And what is Poontang.wave?
I smell vermin, Poontang.
I have no idea where that came from. Interesting. Anytime you connect to a server, it downloads the waves onto you. So you'll just look down and just be like, I don't know where the hell this thing what is this? I don't know. Just part of playing online, I guess. Okay. So we have now pre-cached it. That's step 1 to a sound. Now let's play it. Okay. Well, I don't know. Let's find out how to play this sound, RXP3. So I'm just going to search for RXP3. And you can see it's been pre-cached. If it gets pre-cached multiple times, it's fine. What happens, all those pre-cached statements get put together into just a list of all the different sounds that are needed. And then that gets transmitted to the client. The client says, do I have it? If it has it, then it loads it into memory, so it's all ready to go when you play the sound. If it doesn't have it, then it downloads it from the server. So if the server has a sound that you don't have, and it's needed for the mod, it'll actually download to you. Neat. That's something that a lot of games these days don't allow. If you don't have the map, you can't play it. Sorry. In this, it'll download the map, it'll download the models, it'll download the sounds, whatever. Whatever. Okay. And this is how you play a sound. Okay. So, it's been commented out. That's weird. All right. Well, there's a function called sound. It's going to be played at your location, so it's attached to you. There's different channels for sounds taking place. There's a weapon channel, a voice channel, things like that. If there's already a weapon channel sound being played, and you play another weapon sound, it stops the first one and plays the second one instead. So if you like fire the rocket launcher and quickly switch to the assault cannon and spin that up, the assault cannon sound will cut off the rocket launcher sound. And it's probably a good thing. Okay. And I don't remember what that is, volume, and that's attenuation normal. So that means the further away people get, the quieter the sound gets. Okay. So when should it play that sound, Stafford? When do you want it to play the split? Maybe if the player falls off a cliff or something. What do you think? You shoot the nail gun when falling? Okay. Where is falling damage? Let's find out. Fall. Okay. Alright. And if we can take damage and jump flags, H2O jump, that is the sound right there to what is the difference between these two? I think this is the distance you fall in. Yeah, so if you fall in a long distance, then it goes, ow, crunch, you know. If you fall in a little bit, it goes, oof, like that. So do you want your splot to be if you fall a long distance or a short distance? Every footstep. There are no footstep sounds in this. A lot of mods added footsteps, and I didn't. In part for network reasons, like I didn't want to have to transmit that packet for every player, every frame, you know what I mean? The long one. Okay, all right. So YYP. And it's your voice channel, and we're just going to play, what do we call it? Splat.wave. Okay. That's what we call it, right? So we save that. Splat.wave, save that. Don't need you anymore. Oops. Don't save. Okay. And then, ready to compile. Compile the code. Went fine. Map. How many maps do I have? I have 891 maps. All right, what's a good one? What's a good map? Armageddon.bsp. I don't know if I've ever played Armageddon. All right, let's try that one. Map Armageddon. Okay. Come in here. Choose your god, Zeus or Hera. We'll go Zeus. And we'll just go custom. And we will buy a rocket launcher. And we'll buy some legs and some armor. And call it a day. Alright. I have no idea where I'm going. I've never played this map before. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's cool. Elevator? Elevator. Alright. Locked and loaded. Alright. Let's see if I can fall far enough. Nope. There it is. That's sound. Okay. So for sound, there's two steps. Pre-cache the sound and play the sound. That's it. So instead of it going, oof, whoop, that's it. All right. So hopefully you guys are excited by this. It's if any of you guys want to make an argument for modding Fallout New Vegas instead, I'll entertain the notion. It's free open source. I've even though I have 891 maps, I can tell you I have not played 891 maps. I've never played this map before. Oh wow. Okay. Odd. Very odd map design here. Can I get out of this? Oh, there's a ramp. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. Okay then. There's always that moment of disorientation when you play a new map. You're like, I don't really know what's supposed to happen here. All right. So that is a little intro to modding Quake idTech 1. If you want to learn to modify the server and the client, we can do that too. But kind of next time I'm going to go over the basic tools in the Quake engine so you learn how to do touch and think and taste. Wait, no. Touch, think. Timer? I don't know. Whatever the other two was. Touch, think. Trace? Yeah, trace line. And we'll go over the basic tools in that. And you'll see it's very easy to mod. So simple mods are simple, harder mods are harder. But I'll kind of go over the basic tools for you guys, and then you should be able to have some fun with it. Like, if you don't like first-person shooters, I know one of my groups in the past turned into like a flower-picking game or something like that, and all the art on the walls turned into giant pictures of flowers. It was quite surreal. But that's it for today. So yeah, get your project proposals in, please, as soon as possible. And then you got 2 Tuesdays to work on it. So I want you guys working on that over the weekend, please. And get stuck early so that you can get help, so you don't miss the deadline. All right? Okay. That's it for today, guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.